What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another conversation. I enjoyed these conversations with you guys. For those of you that know me or have been following my stories, you know that I'm always out and about. I'm always traveling. I'm always in these countries where I don't really often get the opportunity to have conversations with people in English because nobody around me currently, or even like over the past couple of years, has spoken any English. Not enough to really have a conversation. And it kind of sucks when you don't know the language and you're in another country as well because you're not really like communicating. You're communicating, but it's just the basics like where's the bathroom or do you guys take credit cards or just the stupid stuff that's like the basic language that you would think if you could teach your dog or your cat how to talk in English. Like these are the types of levels of conversations that you would have. It's very, very third grade, very second grade level conversations, nothing with any depth to it. So, in order for me to vent and not lose myself in, a mental apocalypse, I like to make videos and just put them out there because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of you guys and gals out there that are just isolating yourselves due to the times, due to the point in human history that we're at. There's more people that have been isolating themselves with computers and with their cell phones in dark rooms and basements and small apartments and RVs and cabs of trucks if they're commercial drivers, or even, working. There's people that listen to this type of material where they might be working in some warehouse somewhere where there's nobody around. They've got an earpiece in, or they're manning a kiosk at a mall. I never know who's listening. But I'm glad that you're listening. I'm glad we can have these conversations. And, today I just wanted to talk about the stuff that I've been dropping on the channel recently to give you guys an update. I did a lecture series on my take on van life after doing that for the better part of like 5 years. I gave my inputs because this seems to be one of those things that people all over the internet are making videos about. But I think, I'm one of those types that, like, if I'm going to make a video or if I'm going to talk about something, I'm going to talk about it from a point of experience. I'm not really the type that's going to go out there and day one just start talking about it like I'm an expert in the field, because so many things in everything that you do, if it comes down to it, you can think back to like your first job, or the first time you got behind the wheel of a car. In the beginning, your experience and your outlook on how things are or how they're going to be is totally different once you get some experience under your belt. And this is why when I talk about business, I'm always kind of throwing shade on these younger business people that are 20, 21, 22, trying to educate the masses on how to run a business, when it's impossible to have the knowledge. Even if you are smart and you've read a lot of books and you've been to a great college, even at the best colleges, you don't possess the know-how, the experience. You haven't been through the ups and downs in order to really share any type of useful information, except for maybe a motivational video to help people that are a little bit behind the point where you're at, where maybe you finally committed to doing something. Then you could share. I could see that being useful. But everybody these days is, if not already, in the near future, I would suspect that most people are going to have YouTube channels and TikTok channels. This is going to be a normal thing for society. I have thought this for years. Back like 6, 7 years ago when I got my first iPhone, because I was behind the ball on that. I was always a Samsung guy. I got my first iPhone and I discovered Instagram, and I discovered how Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok we're starting to adapt this new short form media content that was these reels that were less than 3 minutes. And I thought to myself when I first saw these and I was doom scrolling through these like a lot of people do, I was thinking to myself, man, Hollywood and movies and even television and these streaming services could be eventually canceled out by this type of content because this is fantastic. It's almost like the transition between reading books and watching movies. If you've done both and you still prefer to read books, you and I are not on the same page. I don't understand. It's like if you had to travel cross country and you've always had horses, but then for the last 5 years, you've had a car to travel around, but you still choose to do it every time if for work or whatever by horse versus doing it by car or taking a plane. I wouldn't really understand that. Like, you and I are not the same type of person. That's okay. There are people out there that are old school, they're traditional. Look at the Amish. I mean, the Amish people have not adopted a whole lot of electricity. Some of them have, but I mean, for the most part, they've got horse driven carriages and they handle their societies in like a communal type of way, almost like a communist type of way. And who's to say any service, any society is better than the other? You know, I for one, I love technology, so I'm always looking for the newest. It's it was hard for me to drive a Tesla for 6 months and charge my vehicle at my house overnight and not have to go to the gas station and have just almost like unlimited local driving without paying at a gas station. It took forever for me to come off of that and go back to driving gasoline powered cars because the Teslas had the technology and they're pretty much self driving. And if you can charge them at home and stuff, they're fantastic. I mean, but there's advantages to not having an electric car, especially if you're driving long miles. So when I got back to the United States the last time and I had to rent a vehicle rather than renting a Tesla, I rented a Toyota Camry. And although I was spending more in fuel, and the whole system's completely different, with a gas car, it's just so much better for me in my life to have that. So, yeah, I think that going forward, we are going to all be having these types of channels. And I love watching all types of content from people. I'm not a big fan on these infomercial types of spaces, though, and channels where they're not really talking about what they're advertising in the picture. Like, oh my gosh, Dana White just had a heart attack. And then you go through this whole video about Dana White, but it's not true that he had a heart attack and you wasted like 10, 15, 20 minutes of your life listening to stuff that you've already heard. I hate that. So I think eventually maybe YouTube and TikTok and these platforms are going to start limiting and cutting and verifying and cutting all that crap out and getting us to the point that we have real rock solid information. But until that happens, I'm going to build a channel. I'm going to build a presence. I'm going to get my practice talking to you guys. And hopefully we can get to a point in the future where only the very best conversationalists and the very best people that actually have information that's going to be helpful to the masses is available. So I wanted to thank you guys for supporting and coming around and listening to a good conversation. And check out my channel. I'm going to have the new stream platform and the Weirs Institute up and running soon. It's probably going to be a monthly subscription thing. I'm not quite sure how we're going to work that out yet, but I will keep you guys informed. And yeah, just thanks for checking me out and hearing me vent. And I will see you in one of these other films.